what is important for the HR people is that the study says, do not focus on what AI does to HR. It says, understand what AI does to your business.
Welcome to CleverCoffee, where HR leaders share insights over strong coffee. I'm Tibor from CleverConnect, and today we have Michael from Mercer with us. Michael, want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Tibor. My name is Michael, as you said, Michael Eger. I am a partner with Mercer. Mercer is one of the biggest HR consultancies in the world. And within Mercer, I have the role of the European consulting leader for talent attraction, recruiting, and retention, which makes me also the responsible for the German-speaking region for our global talent trend study.
Michael, you just conducted the Global Talent Trends 2025. What is the most interesting fact around AI?
As all consultancies, we focus on AI this year. And I guess what is important for the HR people is that the study says, do not focus on what AI does to HR. It says, first understand what AI does to your business, because only if you understand how AI will replace certain skills, what AI will do to your business model, then it makes sense to really understand your workforce planning, your talent management, your talent acquisition. Without understanding what AI does, you are somehow doing something, but not really focusing on the future.
So the world is obviously changing. How do the preferences of employees and applicants actually change?
Yeah, we see that the impact of the insecurity in the world and all that many changes and, the geopolitical stuff and the wars and all that kind of politics and so on, they lead to a situation where people really long for trust. We see a decline in trust when it is about the relationship between employees and their employers. And people really want to understand what the company does for them. They want to have transparency. It's not about getting, the most out of the company, but it's the feeling of being treated in a fair way and having the full transparency on what the company plans and in which way the company behaves regarding today's challenges. And that might be the most interesting topic. So that makes topics like pay equity interesting, not only from a compliance point of view, but it's obviously one of the topics people are interested in is pay transparency. That's one of the few cases where you can really see that compliance fits with the preferences of people.
Makes a lot of sense. So what do you think is the actual requirement for it to work out?
Yeah, when we say that AI is impacting us really like an industrial revolution, we need to understand that this is, first of all, a threat towards people. So that means if people feel threatened by digital tools and AI, we need to make them open towards that. We make them look forward to all the changes in AI, in technology. And that means we need cultural development, we need change management, and we should not forget, sounds always obvious, but companies often really forget or don't want to pay for that. But at the end, it's all about culture.
Actually, last time we met for dinner, you presented also a few interesting numbers. You spontaneously have them at hand.
Yeah, it was something like, where can you see changes in AI? So where does AI impact HR? Right. And one thing which was important was that maybe the most changes are in recruitment. 2025 might not be a recruitment year, but we clearly see that the adoption rate of AI in recruiting is kind of high compared to the other solutions. And also the feeling of getting an ROI for AI is high in recruitment. That was one topic I remember.
If you think about AI adoption, is there any industry standing out in a positive or negative way?
Yeah, at the end, it's a bit the classics. So for sure, companies in high speed and IT environments are more likely to use AI compared to, let's say, raw material industries, metals, and so on. But the most important topic we see, which distinguishes the adoption rate, is the speed of growth. So high growth companies are much more likely to really use AI compared to companies which do not grow. And that is interesting because you would say when it's about productivity, when it's about the use of AI, especially the companies currently not growing should focus on using AI to increase productivity. But this is not the case. It seems to be the higher the growth, the more money you have, the more you focus on AI. And this is somehow something which at least made me think.
Taking a look at the study, which of the priorities you see actually growing the most?
Yeah, when you look at priorities, I think one important topic is really designing talent processes around skills. So skills are all around for a couple of years now, so at least in the discussion. But now we see that the companies try to tackle skills more holistically, which makes sense. So skill-based hiring without skill-based talent management, without skill-based rewards does not. But when companies focus on, let's say, a common taxonomy and common understanding of skills and hire for the same skills like they develop, like the whole processes are designed, then it really makes sense and we can really see progress and also ROI when it comes to skills.
The study also says something around the return on investment and the technology spent or investment. Like, how do you see that?
I mean, it's interesting because normally you would say you expect in all disciplines that when you use tech, then there is certain ROI. Interestingly, on top of the list in the study is employee engagement listening. So all the survey tools and kind of things. That's number one when it's about ROI. And number two already is talent acquisition. Obviously, still have potential for really getting an ROI when we incorporate technology in recruitment, even if we have a certain maturity in TA, there still seems to be room for improvement and then also room for an ROI.
So, like last time over dinner, we shortly discussed your skill snapshot survey from this year. What role does talent acquisition play in it?
Yeah, we see in the snapshot survey that the more internal processes are driving the skills agenda. So it's often the combination of career development and compensation and benefits and performance management and things like that. But we can see that talent acquisition is on the rise. So, I mean, 2025 is maybe not a talent acquisition year. So economic situation is a bit worse compared to, let's say, 2022. But we can still see that there is a big impact on the skills agenda. So as soon as TA really also joins the skills agenda, this is a real driver for getting skills throughout the whole organization.
The study also speaks about the maturity of different disciplines. Like, how does the TA maturity actually look like?
Yeah, I mean, overall, we see a higher maturity in the internal talent processes. So let's say career development, performance management, learning. That's where we have the highest maturity when it's about the incorporation of skills into the processes. That's all around 1/3 of the companies using that. For TA, it's 27% this year, which is close to the 30% of the internal processes, but there is still room for improvement.
Thanks, Michael. This was like very insightful. Thank you for sharing. Interesting 3 minutes spent with you once more.
Yeah, thank you. It was a lot of fun, even if I had no coffee. But now I have a break and I can catch a espresso or something. So it was fun and looking forward to doing this again.
Cheers, Michael.